Now, whilst the Israel-Palestine conflict currently unfolding in Gaza has been tragic, with many violations of human rights, what is even more shocking is the virtue signalling coming from both political wings of politics. Both the left and right wing are infested with virtue signalers. The left wing, of course, are infested with the cringy, wokey virtue signalers who stand with friggin' terrorists. I mean, in Manchester and Birmingham, all around the diverse cities, there were thousands of wokists, predominantly white, may I add, who were waving Palestinian flags and saying, "We stand with Palestine," because you can always tell if they're British if they're waving Palestinian flags or indeed communist flags. These rich, candid wokies know nothing about what Hamas actually are, because they think it's some kind of cool, edgy resistance movement, because they're cool and edgy and their resistance against an evil Christian patriarchy in the West. But in reality, they aren't the resistance. They are the ultimate conformity. They are the regime, and Hamas are not a resistance, but a bloodthirsty terrorist group who have raped and murdered innocent people. But of course, to them, that doesn't care. I mean, when Britain becomes an Islamic state, I can only guess the shock there'll be on these people's faces, that put "I stand with Palestine" in their bio. Because, under an Islamic state, it'd be absolute hell for not just our women, but, everyone. Because, whilst I would hate living in an Islamic Britain, I would live in it just to see the look on the leftists' faces when they have to conform to Sharia law. Because to them, it's very much diversity for thee, but not for me. Send all the packies to the working class areas, like Scunthorpe, like Birmingham, but don't you dare send them to Kent or Essex. Don't you dare. No, don't you dare. Because we want to live in ethnically homogenous neighbourhoods with not one single mosque in sight, whilst we virtue signal endlessly on Twitter about how we love diversity. And of course they're doing all sorts of cringy shit like fucking cycling and using an actual anti-fascist song, Bella Ciao, that was used, to basically discredit the regime in Italy during World War II, and it was used to basically Mussolini is an idiot. But they're using it as a fun little, song. We're cycling for Palestine, we're cycling for Hamas, we're cycling for a terrorist movement. And of course, it's not the cringy woke left, it's the cringy alt-right. With people like Paul Golding and Ashley Simon on Britain First, the party that is taking our country back, really. Well, how are we supposed to take our country back whilst you simp for Israel? The literal state that in 2015 and subsequent years demonized those who spoke up against the migrant crisis, who in 2011 produced hit pieces on Tommy Robinson and yourself, Paul. Do you think all those names Golding got called, like Nazi, anti-Semite, all the other stuff was just from the left-wing media? No. Israel was involved in Paul Golding being slandered, yet he supports them. Tommy Robinson was slandered the most by Israel, leading him to be arrested, and he supports them. It's just stupid. Whenever there's a current thing, both the right and the left come out in support of it. And now the current thing is either Israel or Palestine. Which one? To be honest, none. Because Palestine, Hamas are a terrorist organisation. and they want to conquer Israel. And then after they've conquered Israel and subjected, the whole of Israel to the rule of Islam, they don't want to stop there, because they're portrayed by the left-wing media as a resistance movement, when in reality they're a Islamic terrorist organization that want to not only conquer Israel but reconquer other former Muslim colonies. They want to conquer Spain, Eastern Europe. They want to expand the Islamic Caliphate into Western Europe and into Britain. This is what they want. But yet these left-wing idiots think that they're a resistance. They're not resistance. They're a terrorist organization. And of course, the right support Israel. As I mentioned, Israel wants to just deport thousands of people from Gaza after they've completely flattened Gaza to the ground, turning it into a parking lot. They want to deport all these people from Gaza who've just had their houses flattened by Israel and who support Hamas. They want to pick them up, scoop them up and send them to Europe where there's lots of support for Hamas and active Islamic terrorist cells, which would just be a repeat of the 2015 migrant crisis. What Israel want to do spells disaster. And of course, to end this whole debate whether whose land it is, it's no one's land. Israel or Palestine is no one's land. Do you know why? Because that land has been fought over for thousands of centuries by thousands of people. And at this point, no one owns it. Most of the Palestinians were moved to that land by the Ottoman Turks. And if you do DNA tests on the Palestinians living there, they either come from Egypt, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, or any other Arab nation that is, and not Palestine. If you do, and of course, the people who live in Israel, the Jews who live in Israel, they're not Arab or Middle Eastern. They are Eastern European. So they're Polish, Hungarian, Russian, Latvian, Estonian, German. The basically the Jewish people who survived World War II and the Holocaust, and after the Second World War, they all just up and left their homes in Western Europe and moved to Israel. So no one owns the land, no one owns it, and for thousands of years, people have been fighting over it, dying over it. Not because Israel or Palestine or that land holds any natural resources, because if you actually go to it, it's nothing but sand. It's just desert. It's just an open stretch of desert that stretches on for miles. Do you know why they're fighting over it? Because of religion, because of made-up books by long-dead bastards who still control you like a puppet on strings from beyond the grave. That's why you're fighting and dying over Israel. Because of what it says in the Quran, because of what it says in the Bible, because of what it says in the Torah. You're fighting in the name of storybooks written by long-dead paedophiles. Religion just divides people. Anyway, apart from showing us the sheer brutality of what Islam looks like, because all the things Hamas have done are in accordance to the Quran. They've gone in there, they've taken women, because in the Quran it says you can take women when at war, that they're what your right hand possesses. So they've taken Israeli Jewish women back to Gaza to rape them. They're sex slaves. They've killed men or taken them captive, taken women and children captive, just as Muhammad did. It showed us the brutality of Islam and what Islam really looks like. What really, really looks like in the flesh, what Islam truly is. But apart from that, it's shown us the how both political establishments, the right and left wing, are just infested with virtue signalers who would take any opportunity to show their virtue and show how much they support the current thing. If they really were patriots, if Britain First really did care about Britain, they would not care. They should be more like actual patriotic movements, like Patriotic Alternative, who have not said anything about this because they really don't care. Because it's none of our business. If Muslims and Jews want to kill themselves, over some ancient ruins, let them do it. It's none of our business. Not one tiny bit. I mean, the real patriots, unlike Tommy Robinson and other people who, they say they're patriots. Tommy Robinson, Nigel Farage, Paul Golding say they're all patriots. They're not. Maybe Tommy Robinson, maybe he was a patriot back in the day, but since being in exile in Spain after being arrested multiple times, he's no longer a patriot. He sold his soul to Israel fully, so he's no longer a patriot because he wants to sit down with the enemy. He says that Muslims are his friend. He says that when they're not our friends, they're our enemies. Get that straight. And but there are still patriots. The patriots who today, on this very day, 10th of October, Tuesday the 10th of October, the patriots in Llanelli, they fought and they won at Stradey Park. They sat there through rain, hail and snow, through abuse, through media scandals, and they held firm. And you got Joe Marsh, who reported on Stradey Park. They did a running commentary. You got other channels. You got many other people. You got Active Patriot on Twitter who basically says, every tweet he does basically says, said number of migrants arrived in Britain while she was asleep. He is endlessly devoted to exposing the migrant crisis. And yes, so the tragic situation in Gaza has exposed virtue signalers on both political sides, showing that virtue signaling is not just a left-wing thing but a right-wing thing, and that we need to stop virtue signaling and start focusing on real problems in our own countries, not in Israel or Palestine, because they don't matter.